History is filled with kings, empires, and revolutions. But hidden beneath the surface are stories so strange, so unbelievable, that they're rarely mentioned in classrooms. Today, we'll explore 5 bizarre historical facts that prove the past was often stranger than fiction. The War of the Bucket. In 1325, the Italian city-states of Bologna and Modena went to war. The cause wasn't land, it wasn't gold, it wasn't even religion, it was a wooden bucket. According to legend, Modenese soldiers stole a bucket from Bologna's main well. Bologna demanded it back. Modena refused. That petty act sparked the Battle of Zappolino, where nearly 30,000 men fought. Thousands were killed, all because of a bucket. And in the end, Modena won. The bucket was never returned, and to this day, it sits proudly in a museum. A ridiculous reminder of how small things can trigger massive consequences. The Dancing Plague of 1518. In the summer of 1518, the town of Strasbourg experienced a nightmare. It started with one woman who began dancing in the streets. Hours passed, then days. She could not stop. Soon, dozens joined her, then hundreds. They danced until their feet bled, until their bodies collapsed. Many died of exhaustion, strokes, or heart failure. Doctors had no explanation. Some said it was divine punishment. Others suspected curses. Modern science suggests mass hysteria or poisoning from a fungus that causes hallucinations. But no one truly knows why it happened. The Dancing Plague remains one of history's strangest and most haunting mysteries. The Cadaver Synod. In the year 897, the Catholic Church witnessed one of its darkest moments. Pope Stephen VI hated his predecessor, Pope Formosus, so much that he put his corpse on trial. Months after Formosus had been buried, his body was dug up, dressed in papal robes, and seated on a throne. A deacon was forced to speak on behalf of the rotting body, while Stephen screamed accusations at it. Unsurprisingly, the corpse was found guilty. It was stripped of its sacred garments, mutilated, and thrown into the river. This grotesque spectacle became known as the Cadaver Synod, a moment in history so absurd and disturbing it feels more like a horror story than reality. Napoleon's rabbit attack. Napoleon Bonaparte, the brilliant general who conquered much of Europe. He defeated armies, toppled kingdoms, and terrified monarchs. But one day, he was forced to retreat. Not from soldiers, but from rabbits. In 1807, after signing a peace treaty, Napoleon's men organized a rabbit hunt to celebrate. Hundreds of rabbits were released from cages, but instead of running away, they charged directly at Napoleon and his officers. Why? Because they weren't wild rabbits. They were tame, farm-fed rabbits that thought Napoleon was bringing food. The great conqueror of Europe was chased off the field by a swarm of bunnies, a ridiculous footnote in the life of a man who once ruled an empire. Not all bizarre history is ancient. In 1970, residents of Florence, Oregon faced a peculiar problem. A massive dead whale had washed ashore. It was too heavy to bury and too dangerous to leave rotting. So officials came up with a plan. They packed it with dynamite, expecting the whale to disintegrate into small pieces that seagulls would carry away. When the explosion went off, the crowd cheered, but moments later, massive chunks of whale flesh began raining down on the beach, smashing car roofs and covering horrified onlookers. Instead of solving the problem, the explosion simply spread it everywhere. To this day, the exploding whale is remembered as one of the most bizarre public miscalculations in modern history. History is often remembered for great battles, powerful rulers, and world-changing events. But scattered throughout the past are stories so strange they sound like myths. A war over a bucket, a plague of unstoppable dancers, a dead pope on trial, Napoleon humbled by rabbits, and a whale that exploded across a town. These bizarre moments remind us that history is not just serious. It can also be unbelievable, absurd, and sometimes darkly funny. This is Fact Vault. If you enjoyed uncovering the strange side of history, make sure to follow along, Because the weirdest stories are always the ones hiding in plain sight.